Installing software applications into the virtual machine is very similar to what we did when we actually installed the operating system to the virtual machine. And that is, we have two basic choices for how we actually get the software loaded or installed. The first one, if we come up here to the Devices menu on the window, notice we can come down to CD, DVD devices, and we can choose the host drive E, and this will make the virtual machine read from whatever disk we put in the DVD-ROM player or the CD player. We can also, from that same menu, choose more CD, DVD images, and it will remember ones that you have used in the past. But if we click more, we can then go out and just click Add, and we can browse out on our various disks and find other ISO images that we can install from. And so I'll go into my computer and come down to this, my VHDs. This is an external storage USB disk. And if I go into my Windows XP ISO, you'll notice that I also put out here, I downloaded off Microsoft's website a ISO of Visual Studio 2008 Pro 90-day trial edition. And so I can just click on that and say OK, and then click Select. And you will notice here that it will fire up and it will begin the process of installing Visual Studio 2008. And it's warning me here, and this is something that happened to the display back when we installed the guest editions back in the video entitled Installing Guest Editions. It actually gave us the ability to take the resolution down to 640 by 480. And so this is saying that I should set my resolution before running setup. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. But you'll notice here, this is going to kick off the Visual Studio setup. Notice I can click on Install, and it will begin the process of trying to install Visual Studio 2008. And when I'm done with this, I will have Visual Studio on this virtual machine. And what I want to do here is basically stop right here, and I won't go any farther with this. But notice what I can do. I can hit right Control F and make this full screen, and then just cancel this. And I can cancel it and hit Control F to take it back down. And then I'll just exit that and I won't install it. But it's that easy to install software into these. And again, I can do any kind of software if I have it in ISO form or if I have it on a CD. And I can just load it in here. Now, depending on the software you have, you could see sluggish performance inside a virtual machine. You'll just have to try it out and see how it works. So that's how to install applications into your virtual machines. In this video, I want to show you one of the coolest aspects of using virtual machines, and that is when we already have our disk file. We already have the operating system on a disk image. And by that I mean, if you've noticed that Sun's VirtualBox uses the .vdi file for the disk drive. And so if you notice on this Windows XP ISO virtual machine that we built, when we created the disk, we called it xpiso.vdi. Now, since then, we have loaded an operating system into that, and so we could now share this VDI with somebody else. We can even clone it and give them a copy of it. And then I want to show you what can happen. I have a Windows 7.vdi file that I've created sometime past and used, but I still have the VDI file sitting out there on my disk, and I'm going to show you how to use it. Now, I want to show you how quick it is to get Windows 7 running in a window here. I'll click on New for a new virtual machine. Just click Next, and I'll call this Windows 7. On my operating system version, I'll come down here and choose Windows 7. All this does is kind of preloads some of the base memory and disk size and so forth, that I can change those easily, as you see here. And I'm going to tell it to use an existing hard disk. And then when I click in the drop down, I can see hard disks that I've had in the past on here. And notice there's a Windows 7 VDI. Now I will choose that and click Next, and notice it says, okay, cool. And notice this is a 25 gigabyte disk file. Again, Windows 7 VDI is the name. And I just simply click Finish. And notice there it is. I click on it, start it up, and you're going to notice that Windows 7 is going to boot up here. Now, notice I don't have to install anything. Let me pull it over here. And notice this one is set on 1024 by 768. So it's going to be too large while it installs. It's the size of my recording window. But we'll just simply let it install. Windows is going to start up. There really is no installation going. We just kicked off an instance of Windows 7, and it's actually booting up. And as you can see, Windows 7 is popping up here. Now, as you can see, by having these virtual drives already there, I can get something up and running very, very quickly. Now, what's cool is we can go out to Microsoft's website, and notice now that I have the virtual machine up, I will right-click and go to Screen Resolution, drop this guy down just a little bit so that it fits on the screen a little more. Let's pull it down to 800 by 600, apply that, and we'll keep the changes, and there is my Windows 7. What I can do now is share this VDI with someone else. Or better yet, think about what happens when Microsoft introduces a new version of a piece of software. And I want to show you an example of that right now. Now let me show you something as a shutdown. I can click on the X here and I can send the shutdown signal, which will do the same as doing a shutdown on the operating system, and it'll save everything to my virtual disk drive. I can save the machine state and it'll save every window and everything just like it is. Or I can power off the machine that will just kill it. That's the same as unplugging a computer. It's just killing the power. That's not good for these things. And so try not to use those things. But I can click Save the Machine State, and you'll notice how quickly this thing goes away. And it just saved it. And notice it says saved here instead of powered off. But I want you to notice how quickly it comes back when I do that. Notice it's restoring the virtual machine. And it's going to take, maybe, 10 seconds total, and boom, I'm back in business right there. And so very easy to save these things, turn them down, bring them back up, that sort of thing. Now, I want to show you an example here of another one. And with this one, I'm actually going to go out to my iDrive and show you that I downloaded off of Microsoft's website. Let me go find it first. WinServe 2003 Release 2. And there was a VHD. Now, I downloaded 3 RAR files, and when they came in, I double-clicked on the part 1, the executable, and it created this virtual hard disk for me. And notice it's 7.34 gigs. So all I did was download these, joined them together by double-clicking on the executable, and it created for me a VHD. Now, all I have to do at this point, create a new virtual machine, call it WinServer 2003. Come down here and tell that 2003. Give myself some more memory. Use an existing hard disk. And I can see that right out here. That's the same one. I could go point at it, but notice it's the VHD. I could either come out here and navigate to it, or I can just hit it right here because it sees it. If it doesn't see it here, just navigate out to it and click Next and Finish. And notice there's my WinServer 2003, and how cool is this? This quickly, I'm going to boot up into Windows Server 2003, and I'm running that on my Vista machine as well. So you can really see the power of these things and what you can do with them. Now, the coolest way to stay abreast of new technologies, for example, right now Microsoft's in the process of releasing Visual Studio 2010. They will have on their website a Visual Studio 2010 virtual hard disk. You can download the virtual hard disk, drop it into a virtual machine, and you'll already have the operating system. You'll already have Visual Studio 2010 loaded, and you're just good to go. Really, really cool stuff that you can do here with these virtual machines, and this is the way, I think, to learn new software and things. It's just simply go grab these virtual hard disks, the VDI files and so forth, drop them into a virtual machine, and you're good to go. And in this instance, notice this is an evaluation copy. In 90, 120, 180 days, whatever, it'll simply stop working. You just simply kill the virtual machine, power off the machine, it goes away almost instantly. Go out here, you can delete this, and then re-download the VHD, recompile it, throw it back into a virtual machine, you're good to go again. So that's how to use an existing hard disk in a virtual environment. Really, really cool stuff.